As a matter of fact, when Chino Achebe said that the problem with Nigeria is leadership, absence of leadership is not the only question. It is every question. And so I'm always delighted to find myself in an environment where people talk about leadership. And I will encourage you to take your pen and keep your paper close to you so that you can jot some things that I will say. They will help you. You will never hear them in any classroom in Nigeria, I bet you, except centers like this. So let me commend the center for deciding that we talk about leadership. As we have said, it's topical because it's the absence, near total absence of true leadership that defines our national life across all strata of our national life. So what is this leadership that we're talking about? When you talk about leadership or attempting to define it, to my mind, is akin to that proverbial blind men that went to see an elephant. So at the end of the day, after their exercise, they were asked to describe how the elephant looked like. And then someone said, oh, it's a huge mountain. Someone said, no, the elephant is a snake. Apparently, each of them was describing the elephant from the perspective of where he touched the elephant. So there's no way we can exhaust the topic of leadership. We just have to adopt a working definition of the concept of leadership for us to attempt to talk about the demands of leadership. We need to understand what leadership entails. So it has been loosely defined as the act of guiding a team or individual to achieve a determined goal through direction and motivation. Leadership is about taking risks and accepting the fact that you are responsible for your choices. It is about challenging the status quo. You've been told that everything we see, I'll come back to that, any progress you see is brought about by leadership. Even the microphone I'm speaking with is brought about by leadership. It entails progress through innovation. I'm glad the VC has addressed that. So the question we must answer is, who is a leader? Who is a leader? Because the temptation for some of us is to assume that, no, I don't want to be a leader, I will be a follower. But I must say to you that all of us here are leaders. But the problem with us is that we have not been introduced to ourselves. I can bet it 100% that most of you, especially the students that are seated here, you don't know yourselves. And that is the problem. I found myself in your position about 41 years ago. I was a house captain. If you had told me one day, then, as the house captain, that I would be a lawyer, I will go and study abroad, I will come back to Nigeria and be a special assistant to a minister, and later become a member of House of Representatives and a number 4 citizen of this country. Even if you had given me 1 billion naira, I wouldn't believe you. I believe some of you are still struggling, trying to understand who you are. So, can you permit me to introduce you to yourselves? Am I permitted? Okay, permit me to call you Your Excellencies. Because I'm not making this up. In this class, only God knows. There could be future president of this country that is seated here. They might be governors, senators, speakers of the House of Representatives, Senate presidents, professors, vice chancellors, medical doctors, in virtually all fields of human endeavor. You are going to rise and occupy that position. But the challenge is that if you don't develop your talents, you will fall by the wayside. So everything in life has to do with the choices you make. I have witnessed the devastating effect of some of these choices that I will speak to today. If I go back home to my village, I see some of my primary school mates. I weep in my heart, though not physically. Some of them have grown so old that I can even call them either Baba or Dada. That is, they are as old, they are looking as old as my parents or even grandparents. Why? Because of choices. Not that they were not intelligent, not that they were not opportune to sit in leadership position like some of you. No, but because of one or two or three wrong choices they made. I pray that you will keep yourself, because discipline is at the center of what is known as leadership. So all of us are leaders in our areas of gifting. As a matter of fact, what we're supposed to, leadership centers like this should point you to, should be the gifts you have trapped in you. So that when you are coming to the university, you are bringing these gifts, the talents that God has embedded in you, to the vice chancellors, to the leaders who are here, to help you polish them. So that actually you can be that star, that polished star, that can come to impact your world in the area of your gifting. So until you know who you are, you can never become a leader. So self-discovery is critical to leadership, not that. Why do I believe that leadership immersion class such as this is necessary for our youth? I'll say that although leadership determines our progress, strangely, our conventional university do not offer leadership in their curricula. I don't know why that is the case. Some of us never had anything about leadership. All through my school days to the university till my graduation, there was never a class or an interactive section like this on leadership. I never heard about it. You see, the problem is that the curriculum was developed by our colonial masters or lords. And when they did that, they were not bothered about us providing leadership because they believed that they will always be the leaders. So what they did was to design a curriculum that takes you to school, train you, for you to just serve as a worker. They wanted to train laborers and workers for their industries, for whatever was their colonial, goals. They didn't want to develop leaders. So it was deliberate that they omitted leadership in our curriculum. So that is why it is important to have this kind of interface outside of the normal school environment, because you will not be taught leadership in that. So our educational system was not designed to produce leaders. That's the point I'm making. It was designed to produce workers for the colonial masters. So we have to change that. And I'm glad that the University of Abuja, through this enviable center of excellence, is leading in that direction. So it is through leadership education that we can empower you, the youth, to be catalysts for positive change, thereby equipping you with the skill sets necessary to navigate the complexities of our ever-increasing, interdependent, and interconnected world. In a world marked by constant change, the ability to think creatively and adapt to new circumstances is indispensable to every global citizen, and indeed to us, the youths of this nation. So I believe that the early exposure to demands of leadership helps in building a responsible citizenry, as it helps you comprehend the impact of your choices on your individual progress. We have spoken about that, and on broader society. It also helps you to make informed choices, which we will address much later. I'll rush through the points I've noted. So why is leadership important? We have said before now that everything you see now is brought about by leadership. Let me tell you, even the concept of wealth, it has nothing to do with resources that are buried beneath your earth's surface. It has everything to do with what is buried in your head. I'm glad the Vice Chancellor talked about Indonesia. We have Korea. To some extent, they are not as endowed in terms of minerals like Nigeria. But why have they transited into the first world? It's because of the intellectual content of their head. So it is leadership that creates wealth. It is leadership that builds this class that we're seated in. It is leadership that provides progress. It is leadership. In fact, leadership, like I said, is not the only question, it is every question. If you must be a leader, by the time you are given a bush, if you're a leader, you will convert that bush into a garden. And in the absence of leadership, if you are given a garden, a beautiful garden, just give it 2-3 weeks, because the grasses are growing, the trees, branches are coming up, it becomes bush. But with leadership, you can tame those weeds. You can prune the trees. And once you see a beautiful garden, that is an example of leadership in display. It is said that a fish rots from the head. Healthy societies are raised by good leaders, while bad leaders push societies into decay. So it's been said that no society can rise above the level of its leadership. And it is very, very true. The sad reality, therefore, that as a leader, you can only reproduce who you are. It is not in vain that they say you cannot give what you don't have. There's a maxim for that in law, but because this is not a law class, I refrain from pronouncing it in Latin. But the truth is that you cannot give what you don't have. So you reproduce who you are. If a leader is rotten, the country will be rotten. There's no country that will be rotten, or no fish, for instance, that will be rotten, and then the head of the fish is fresh. It's impossible. So once you see bad governance, know that it is bad leadership. There's no way of describing it. So what are the demands of leadership? Number one, character. Write that one, put it there, character. Because character is the foundation of leadership. What is character? Character means commitment to a set of values without compromise or without wavering. What are values? Values are obviously the things you value. So even as young leaders, what do you value? Are you committed, passionately committed to those values? To the point that you can sacrifice everything and not change your position? So if leadership is about influence, I've discovered that to be very true from my own practical experience. It shows that you cannot influence people without character. You know why? Because people will not follow you if they don't trust you. So character is key to leadership, because leadership means you have a set of goals that are determined, are clear, and you want to lead people towards the realization of those goals. So if you don't have character, if people know that they can separate you from your word, if you say A, you mean Z. If you say good morning, it is good night. They're not going to follow you. You can't be an effective leader. Even if you're occupying a leadership position, it is in vain. You're not going anywhere. So we have talked about character. People will not follow you if they don't trust you. So some of you who have eaten into your trust as leaders where you are now, or you have lost some kind of trust, try and reclaim it. Try and make amends so that you can provide effective leadership in the positions where you are right now. So we talk about vision, demands of leadership. You must have vision. Vision is not only the ability to determine the goal, but to see clearly where you want to get to. This is because I'll make a statement, write it down. You cannot lead people to where you have never been to. It's a lie. You cannot lead people to where you have never been to. And let me say this. As a speaker, my leader is here. He was a member of the House. We designed a program called sectoral debates. And the aim of the sectoral debates was to call on the ministers to come and tell us precisely what is it that they wanted to achieve. How were they going about it? What resources and assistance do they need from the National Assembly in order to help them attain those goals? And what were the challenges militating against achieving those goals? We did the first round of those sectoral debates. Next thing I could hear was a call from the president to say we were disturbing their ministers. We were preventing them from concentrating on their tasking responsibilities as ministers, so we should allow them and not summon them to the National Assembly to tell Nigerians, and indeed the legislators, because we hold the power of the purse. That is, we are the ones that give government money to spend. But we are now calling the minister to come and tell us, this is where, for instance, I want to move the Minister of Agriculture in the next 2 years. But these are my challenges. These are the things we need, so that together we can work it and say, okay, take the deliverables, things that you need, but we will hold you by the benchmark you have set for yourself. If you would remember very well, as a matter of fact, I was so disappointed. I don't think there was any minister that we listened to that was able to point to a definitive goal where he was driving his ministry to, let alone say that these are the challenges militating against our desire to attain these goals that we have set. So it means absolutely there was no vision. It is said that without vision, the people perish. So once you lack vision, there's nothing you can do in life. If I know that my goal is to get to the airport here, and I see myself going towards Nyanya, I should be able to tell myself that, except I'm crazy, this is not going to take me to my direction. or to my destination, sorry. But if I don't know where I am heading to, it is trial and error. You try this thing, it doesn't work, you abandon it. Try the next thing, it doesn't work, you abandon it. Leaders don't operate like that. You must have a clear, a definitive vision so that you will be able to lead your followers towards the realization of that vision. One thing with vision is that it generates passion, and passion keeps you on track. Passion keeps you disciplined in order to achieve the goal that you have set for yourself. So, in order to maintain these disciplines that we're talking about, some of you may have to drop your friends. If I have set goals for myself and I know that the friendship I keep will prevent me from attaining that, I have to cut those friends off. Very important. Some of you may have to spend the time, cut down the time you spend on your phone. If that is the challenge that will prevent you from getting to the goals that you have set for yourself, drop them. Some of you may have to drop some habits. I don't know what habits you have that might prevent you from reaching the goals you have set for yourself. If you have those habits, drop them. Most importantly, vision gives you sight. There's so many people in this country that have eyes, but they cannot see. And because I used to be a teacher, if I am to attempt something here, all of us will laugh, if the VC will permit me. I'm almost done, though. Let me ask you, as a leader, you must be prepared to see things differently than others. If I give you a tree to plant, what do you see? Can somebody answer that? I give you one tree to plant. What do you see? You see a forest. Fantastic. Anybody with a different idea? You? You see what? Life. Okay. So when you see cows, you see goats and sheep, what do you see? What do you see? Anybody with an answer? What do you see? Pardon? What do you see? You see a farm. Okay. So when you see a massive tree, what do you see? You see a forest. So when you run into difficulties, what do you see? The pains that are associated you see hope. So you see, a leader has to think differently. And you have to see differently. So as the student there rightly picked, when I give you a tree to plant, a normal person, a follower will just see a tree, but a leader must be prepared to see a forest, because from it you can raise more seeds, you can plant more trees, and before you realize, you have a whole forest from just one tree. When you see cows, sheep, and goats as a leader, you are not looking at meat. So you begin to jump that, oh, my soup is going to be sweet today. No. A leader will see bags, will see shoes, and will see all those beautiful leather products That is how a leader thinks. That is what your sight as a leader should give you, not to look at the immediate thing you can get from it, which is meat. And when you see a huge tree, instead of just seeing a shed that you can enjoy, look at the furniture, look at the tables, look at the things that you will use that tree to provide. And when you see challenges, always look for the opportunity. There's never a challenge in life that doesn't come with opportunities embedded in it. No crisis ever that is devoid of opportunity. So instead of looking at the effect of the crisis, effect of the challenges, as a leader, try to pinpoint opportunities. And when you observe events that are not routine, what do you see as a leader? For instance, when I was making my way from Abuja to this university, assuming I had seen soldiers deploying on the road, I will know that this is a novel event. Novel means something new. Because if things were normal, if they were routine, soldiers would not be on the street. So automatically I know that there's a problem. That is how a leader analyzes situations. That is how he sees things. If I see a spike in crime, I automatically know as a leader that there's a problem with the policing. You don't even have to come and lecture me. Once I see that there's a spike in crime, I know that the police are not doing their job. So that is how leadership works. I wish we had time. For instance, when you see plenty leaves on the road, it's not normal. It's not routine for you to just see leaves. Plenty leaves on the road. Automatically, as a leader, you know that there's an accident, there's an emergency. So you should prepare for it. So let's talk about self-development, which is what distinguishes you from a follower. One thing about life is that it cannot offer you more than who you are. But the good news is that you can become more. You can become more. And the only way you can become more is never to cease from learning. Learning new things, interfacing with people, trying even things that are not within your comfort zone, just to experience them. So that is how leaders operate. And it is through learning that you acquire sets of truths, sets of facts. That doesn't make you wise, the fact that you know. Wisdom comes from application of the truth you know. I would know that fire can burn. But wisdom will now tell me, don't put your finger into the fire. But I may be stubborn and still put my hands in the fire. What happens? It goes burns. I know I have the knowledge, but I'm not wise. Why? Because I'm not giving effect to the set of facts or knowledge I've acquired. So it is not enough for you to know. That makes you knowledgeable. But implementing, giving effect to what you know, makes you wise. And that's how leaders operate. Then teamwork is another fundamental aspect of leadership. In fact, team is an acronym of together, each achieve more. The truth is that you can never do it alone. You will never know it all alone. You need others. So as a leader, you must learn to delegate. You must learn to trust people. And you must learn to build network. And that's why I love what the VC said, that they are going to put you on their data. I wish that they will get you to exchange your numbers If I'm the head boy here or I'm a house captain here, I'm facing a challenge, I should be able to call you. Maybe you have dealt with that kind of challenge in the past. And then you advise me, I had this problem, this was how I solved it. So I don't have to go and dig into books. I can tap from the experience of others in order to increase my own leadership, upscale my own leadership abilities. So they should put you in networks where you can connect with yourselves, discuss ideas, interrogate things together. And if you discover new things, share it with your colleagues. It is said that iron sharpened iron. So that is how you can better improve yourselves. So no one can do it all by himself. No one has it all. We have to rely on others. So let us pull the curtains here for one of time. I understand I had 20 minutes, but I'm sure I've exceeded those 20 minutes. If you have to listen to a politician, a lawyer, a parliamentarian, you have to know that you have to bury some time. But please, if you remember nothing from what I have said to you, remember that you are a leader. Remember that you can become more. Remember that until you carry your talents to be polished, you could be a star, but that star you will continue to dim until you bury it, like some of our friends whom I said missed the opportunity. They didn't make good choices in their life and they're suffering the consequences. Even some of our secondary school mates, if you see them today, you will shed tears. Why? Because of wrong choices. So please, all of you must embark on a journey of self-discovery. Discover who you are first. Then improve on that. Be more. Keep searching for knowledge. Keep learning. Never stop learning. Drop those bad habits. Drop those friends. Drop those phones. Stop watching all the television programs my sister was talking about here that will not lead you to your desired goal. Cut them off. You don't have to spend all the time on TV. This is your most productive years. You have to invest them. As a matter of fact, I always regret the fact that I didn't know the things that I know now. Otherwise, I would have been more than who I am. So thank you for listening. May God bless you, and may God bless our country, Nigeria.
You can do better than that if you're clapping for Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, former Speaker, House of Representatives in the 8th Assembly.